Hey folks, welcome back. In our previous video, we discussed about how to create a baked pre-configured Jenkins image using Packer. But in this video, it is a continuation of the previous one where we will be creating a master instance of the Jenkins and also the worker instance images of the Jenkins. So let's get started. Yeah, so as you can see over here, I have already created the main Packer template to create the Jenkins master AMI. The only addition to our previous video is that we have we have added two extra provisioners, which are both of the type file. So basically, the file type provisioners helps in pushing the dependent files to the destination image so that they are utilized for further setting up of that particular image. So in this example, we will be creating the configuration scripts, and also we will be having the post installation Groovy scripts and also the configuration scripts using the shell. So as you can see, as you can see over here, I have mentioned both the dot scripts, which is the post installation Groovy scripts for to set up the Jenkins master AMI, and the dot config folder, which has the entire plugins installation using the shell script. So let's discuss each one of them. So coming to these Groovy scripts, what basically they do is that post installation, as you could see, as you saw in the previous video, even after the Jenkins was set up, there was some manual pre-configurations needed to be done. For example, generating the admin username and password, and also installing the plugins, configuring the worker nodes, and so on. So there are a lot of manual work to be done even after the installation of Jenkins. So what if those manual works could have been automated? That's where these Groovy scripts and the configuration scripts come in play. So I'd like to explain each one of those Groovy scripts, what they do, and how are they utilized in the Jenkins AMI. So let's go to the first one. So it's basic. So this is a basic security script. So basically, what this do is that once we configure the Jenkins instance, uh, during the setup process, I think you must have seen the screen to set up the administrator username and password. So instead of clicking on next and creating the users manually, what we'll be doing is that we'll be using these modules, which is Jenkins Helm Hudson Realm, to create an account. And in this script, I have mentioned the Akshay, which is my name, of course. So Akshay as the username and Jenkins123 as password. And after that, we will be providing the full control for this particular user, for this newly created user. So basically, if the agent logs in with this username and password, they will have the complete administrative access to the Jenkins master instance. So this is what this script is about. So let's go with the CSRF script. So basically what this does is that it will avoid the CSRF attacks. CSRF attacks is nothing but it's something similar to an unauthorized user logging into the Jenkins instance. So that's the main motto behind this script. So it avoids the CSRF attacks to log into this particular Jenkins master script, a master instance. And coming to the next one, we have so in this particular script, we will be disabling the Jenkins CLI. So basically, once we set up the Jenkins, it has its own inbuilt CLI. And the reason we disable it is because due to security concerns. If the external users gain access to this Jenkins CLI, which is quite easy to be frank, so once they gain access, it might be so it will be a security concern. So for that, we will be disabling the inbuilt Jenkins CLI access. And also JNPL is one of the old protocols, and we will be disabling this as well. And one of the main reason why we will be disabling is because it it cuts out, or it gets rid of the warning messages which will be displayed in the web dashboard. Because if it keeps displaying the warning messages, the Jenkins console will get clumsy, so we will not be able to see the Jenkins build processes if it gets clumsy. So for that reason, we will be disabling all the warning messages. And yeah, so as you can see over here, so in this particular script, we'll be creating SSH credentials from the AWS key pair, so that they will be used to deploy the worker nodes in so using these credentials, the Jenkins master will connect to the worker node, and then it will start scheduling and distributing the jobs onto those particular worker nodes. And yeah, so this is a script which gets executed at the end. So after the master script's execution, after the shell script execution, this Groovy script gets installed at the end, in order to mark the installation setup completion. So let's okay. So over here in the main Packer template, we have mentioned the shell script. Let's see what the shell script is about. This is as the same which we discussed in the previous video, to install the Java and also install Jenkins and start the Jenkins service. So that remains the same. That won't change. Then the other two additions is that we will be installing the Git, because we will be requiring Git in the further videos to clone certain repositories from GitHub. So Git is very essential. And after that, we will be creating a folder. We'll be creating a directory known as init.groovy.t. So in this particular directory, we will be pushing all these scripts and configurations, so that during the startup of the Jenkins instance, these scripts get executed, so that all the post configuration steps will be automatically carried out. And then so next comes is the Jenkins plugin. So yeah, so that is the second part. Let's discuss this over here. Yeah, so as you can see over here, we have, once the Jenkins master instance is configured, we will definitely need multiple plugins to start communicating with the other tools, like it might be Git, or it might be Docker, or it might be Ansible, or it might be Blue Ocean, which is the new UI for the Jenkins. Or sometimes we might require certain AWS plugins, like AWS EC2 instance, AWS Java, or the code commit, code build, code deploy, EC2 instance, and so on. So we need to install multiple plugins manually. So in order to avoid these manual plugin installations, we will already have a shell script in place, so which will read, let me show you that. Yeah, so as you can see over here, from this particular plugins.txt, it is going to pull up all the plugins, all the plugin names, which plugins and their dependencies which needs to be installed, and this shell script will get executed such that all those plugins will be installed automatically. So by just running this particular template, we will make sure that the master instance is created such that once the EC2 instance is spin up based on this particular master AMI image, we will be directly able to log into the Jenkins master node with all pre-configured plugins, or all with all the post installation configurations. So let's test it. Packer validate. Oh, sorry. Packer validate template. Sorry. Sample.json. Hmm. Okay, that should be fine. Packer build sample.json. Let's give it a try. And again, this will take a little longer. So let's wait until this because again it's going to create the EC2 instance, and it is going to install all the shell script setup and also the pre-configuration and the plugins installation. So this will take around 10 to 15 minutes max. So let's come back after. So okay, now after like 15 to 20 after like 15 minutes, we can see that the execution is complete for creation of Jenkins AMI. So let me show you what all it has gone through. Okay, so it has utilized the AMI which we have created and the instance ID, and it has SSH into, yeah, so it has SSH into the machine, and it is executing the dot scripts. I'm sorry, it's uploading the dot scripts, which are the what is it? So which are the Groovy scripts right over here, and then the configuration files to set up the plugins, and then after that it's going to execute the shell script, the overall setup script right over here, and then it started executing all the plugins, all the dependencies, and then after once the shell script execution starts, it will also start executing the installation of Java, installation of Jenkins, the installation of Git, and those Groovy scripts and the plugins configuration script. So after a long execution span, yeah, so as you can see over here, all the plugins are getting executed which we have defined in the text file, and after that, so it will stop the instance, then it's going to create an AMI out of that instance, and after that it is ultimately going to terminate that instance. So as you can see here, the source AWS instance gets terminated once the image is created, and then the artifact will be stored in the location right over here. So as you can see, the Jenkins AMI is already created out of this execution. So in order to test this particular Jenkins master AMI, so what I've done is that I have already spin up the Jenkins master instance. So this is the EC2 instance which I have already spin up. So let me show you. So if you scroll down a little bit in the AMI section, so as you can see over here, it is using the same AMI which we have just created. So it's the Jenkins master AMI, and if we take this public IP and launch it, voila. So we already have the pre-configured Jenkins console. We just need to log in, and the username which I gave was Akshay, my first name, and the password as Jenkins123. Let's hit enter, and yeah, so there you go. So now the master instance is already installed, pre-configured, the plugins are already installed, and we were able to log in to the master instance Jenkins console directly. So with the use of that Jenkins master image, we were able to avoid a lot of manual work, and within few minutes we were able to spin up the Jenkins master instance. So that's the power of automation. And similarly, uh, in the background, I have also executed the worker nodes uh, image executions. So as you can see, okay, let me show you that script. So as you can see, before that, let me show you the executions as well. And yeah, so it has verified all the installations, and then the artifact is created. So this is the AMI ID. So let's verify that as well. Let's go to the AMI, and this is the work instance which we have created. The AMI ID over here is ending with 7453, and yeah, 7453. So it's the same worker instance which is created out of this worker execution scripts. Let me explain that briefly. So creating the worker AMI is pretty straightforward. It's the same thing, and here will not be having any provisioners except the shell script. So in the shell script, what we have done is that we have installed the Jenkins, we have installed the Docker image, because the reason we have installed Docker is because in the upcoming videos we will be containerizing the applications, and we'll be deploying it in the Kubernetes cluster. So containerizing involves Docker necessarily. So we'll be installing Docker, um, and then also we'll be creating the username called Docker, and we'll be enabling it. And after that, we'll also be installing it on the worker nodes as well. So in order to clone any repositories, we'd be requiring the Git as well. Yeah, so as you can see, both the Jenkins master and the worker nodes AMI are created. So in the next video, what we'll be doing is that we will be so we'll be using Terraform scripts. Let me show you that as well. Yeah, so we will be using the Terraform scripts to deploy the AWS infrastructure. That is the entire VPC setup will be done using the Terraform, and with the newly created Jenkins master and worker AMIs, we'll be referencing that in our Terraform scripts to deploy the Jenkins master and the worker instances. And the worker instance will be deployed under the auto scaling groups, and with the entire setup will be completed, will be provisioned and configured using the Terraform scripts. So that comes later on in the video. So until then, see you, take care.